Max, let's go to the Dairy Max Built by Nature hotline to talk with our very special guest. He's the head coach of the 2-0 A&M Consolidated Tigers. We are joined by Coach Lee Fedora. Coach, how are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Wonderful. How are things in apparently soggy College Station, Texas?
Yeah, it's been crazy. We've had so many lightning alerts and had to 45 minutes, an hour postpone practice and all that. And one day we played in a pouring down rain, practice for about 2.5 hours. But like I tell our guys, all it does is get you ready because you never know when you're going to get in the game when it's going to be pouring down rain on you.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's unpredictable around here. I'm interested. You're in your second year there at Consolidated and entering a year that I think a lot of people, us included, have pegged as a very big year for the Tigers. Now that you're in your second year, is there some sort of actual difference you can tell between the program that you walked into in 2017 and the program you're in right now?
Well, I think the biggest difference, they got a year under their belt with us, so, practices go a lot smoother. They understand our terminology and our play calling on offense and defense and our special teams, so, they're getting that, and it's allowed us to pick up our pace a lot more because, I'm an up-tempo offense kind of guy, but we're never going to go fast enough. I don't care if I'm here 20 years. I want to get it going and using our, speed, getting out there and going tempo to hurt some of the defense trying to play us, and we got some real good skill positions, but like I tell them, it all starts up front, and the one concern of mine is just a lot of depth, but I think when you talk to everybody across state, everybody's concerned with their depth, and their O-line and things like that, but right now the kids are buying into everything and doing a good job.
So you feel like now, as a result of just literally being in the system for an extra year, you feel like they understand what's expected of them, not only from a tempo perspective, but also just from a doing things the right way perspective?
Well, what's great about it is they understand, when we do some of these plays, they're like, man, we do these a lot. And I said, yeah. At my last school, we were doing it with seventh graders, and that's why we won state championships those 2 years, because those seventh graders knew the same plays we were calling when we were in the state championship game. And, they're getting an understanding of it. And when they have a good understanding of all their assignments and things like that, that's when we started adding a few tricks to the plays and things like that. And it's been a lot easier this year adding things because they're getting a better understanding of their assignments.
But amazingly, you are an up-tempo offensive guy, and I definitely want to talk a little bit about the offense in a minute. But the calling card for this team the last 2 years really has been defense. You guys were fantastic, really solid defensively last year. You guys have been excellent this year so far, allowing just 7 points through your first two games, 2-0 start. What has been the difference? It seems like right now it's early still, but it seems like you guys have helped make that next step defensively. What's been the difference defensively for you guys?
Well, no doubt. What I tell guys all the time, it ain't about offense. Offense, you're going to win games, but defense is going to win championships. And, I know you made the comment we've given up 7 points, and that wasn't on our defense. That was on a special teams giving up a kickoff return. But like I tell them, that makes me upset because that makes our defense look like they gave up points. But in 2 weeks, our defense has shut out both teams, and they're doing a great job. And, one thing I think our kids do a great job is after games, we come back in, watch our films, and they see the mistakes they made. Missed tackles or wrong gap assignment or wrong coverage. And they're doing a good job communicating out on the field and getting those things fixed. And we see that in each practice that they're getting better from their game film.
We're talking with Lee Fedora, the head coach of the A&M Consolidated Tigers here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, offensively, you've always been a guy who wants to spread the ball around. You've got a lot of guys involved in your offense so far. Stephen Ray, Sam Presnell, Brian Darby, Devin Price, a lot of guys. From that perspective, is it hard to ask these guys, wide receivers tend to be, sometimes it can be a little bit of divas. They want the ball a little bit more than others. Do you get the feeling that this wide receiver core gets it, that the more we all succeed, the more that the team succeeds?
Well, no doubt, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's one thing I talked to my guys all along. I told them, at my last school, we had some unbelievable receivers that would get upset when they weren't getting balls, and we made runs that year, but we didn't win big championships. And the years that we won our 2 state championships, it was guys, they didn't care if they got a ball thrown to them at all as long as we got that W, and I think our guys are starting to see that. And the great thing is we don't have just one guy that they can stop. Just like our last game, they were double teaming and sometimes triple teaming our outside receivers, and that's what allowed us to hit the inside receivers, and our running game worked. And when I talk about balance, it's not about if we have 100 snaps, we want to throw it 50 times and run it 50 times. What balance to me is, if they're going to take away the run, we got to throw it. If they're going to take away the pass, we got to run it. And those guys have bought into that and understand it.
The quarterback here, Caden Fedora. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Tell us a little bit about your quarterback and Caden Fedora. His start. It's awful impressive so far. It's still early, but what can you tell us about your signal caller?
He's doing a good job. The one thing that I talk to my quarterbacks all the time is, even though I tag some stuff with it, that doesn't mean that's what we're going to go to. And sometimes, they get confused on that and go to the tag, and that's where we threw a couple interceptions in our first two games. And same thing is, though, we get on film and, I discuss it with them and they get an understanding. And I think he's done a good job. Last week we had our starting center out against Brian, and we had a few snaps that were off, but he was able to handle snaps. And when they were getting in on blitzes, he was able to scramble out and run the ball and also throw the ball downfield with our scramble adjustment.
Coach, you guys are a team with a bit of an odd week 3 bye. You guys will now play every single week basically until, should you guys make the playoffs, then basically until you lose. How do you handle that? How do you handle what is a bit of a unique scheduling quirk where you guys taking this week off, but then pretty much 8 straight till the end of the season, and then as long as you guys can go?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I hate bye weeks, but we don't take it off. We still work hard during practice, do regular game type prep and do all that. And then, like I tell them, it doesn't matter. The years that we went 16-0, those were some long weeks and long year, but those are the type of years you like. And we just take one game at a time, and it's not about our opponents, it's about us getting better each day in practice and getting better for each week. And our goal is just going one game at a time, trying to be 1-0. And, if we do that next week, then we're sitting there at 3-0, and we're just going to keep trying to climb on it.
Speaking of 1 week at a time, we're talking with Lee Fedora of A&M Consolidated here. Coach, you guys are in a district there in District 10 5A Division 2 that's interesting. You guys are going to open district play in Week 5 against Huntsville. You got one more non-district game next week against Leander Rouse, then you get into the district play. You're also in a district with a couple of new schools. Katy Paetow is still kind of in their infancy. Montgomery Lake Creek is definitely in their infancy. And a couple of programs that that have struggled in the past couple of years. I don't think it's necessarily going out on a limb to say you guys are up near the top of the projections as far as this district is concerned. But then you take that district and you look at the region that you're in, and you guys are in maybe the most brutal region of all of Texas. Whenever you guys do get into the playoffs. So I guess I'm interested in how do you make sure that your team, knowing full well that there are going to be some games down the stretch that you guys are pretty heavily favored in, how do you balance that and make sure you take care of business there so that you're prepared for, if and when you guys do get deeper in the playoffs?
Well, and that's why we just say we take it one game at a time. Our ultimate goal is to win a district championship. And, the first goal we set is we say there's 3 phases in the game. There's a pre-district, and we want to go undefeated in that. We got a chance next week. We win that, we're undefeated, and then that pre-district's over with. And then we start taking one game at a time. And I'll be honest with you, we're going to have our biggest test in that first district game against Huntsville because they're a talented group, and that's going to be a big game for us. But, our guys have done a good job not even looking down the road at the district and all that. All they're doing is preparing for Leander Rouse and doing that. And hopefully we can stay healthy and keep doing what we need to do, and then we'll take one game at a time and get ready for a big test with Huntsville at our place.
It's going to be a fantastic matchup, and we're really looking forward to it. You're right, that's a Huntsville team that's really been impressive so far. Coach, finally, there is another team in town, and I hate to bring them up, but it is College Station, the reigning 5A Division II state champs. You guys will not face them this year. They're in 5A Division I, you guys down in 5A Division II. From your perspective, they're your rival, but they're down the street. Are you happy for them that they won a state championship, or are you just kind of sticking your craw a little bit?
Well, the thing you're only happy for is when you win a state championship. That's the main thing. But, it just shows that, this community has some great athletes and this and that. And, the main thing we try to do is just get our guys prepared. And I'll be honest with you, the biggest rival game to me is our Bryan game that we played. Mm-hmm. That was when I was playing in the 80s. That's who we played, and it was always close games and tough games, and that's why I want to keep playing them. And, people can say, well, there's 6A, y'all are only 5A Division II. That doesn't matter. It's just about playing games and getting ready for opponents and doing that. But, it's great when teams in the area win, but you want to be the team that's doing the winning also.
Absolutely. And the A&M Consolidated Tigers, 2-0 through their first 2 weeks. Next week they'll take on Leander Rouse with their head coach, Lee Fedora. Coach, appreciate your time. Congratulations on your hot start. Best of luck next week against Rouse and down the road.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
There he goes, Lee Fedora, the head coach, the A&M Consolidated Tigers. Good guy. Another guy I literally cannot believe we haven't had him on the show yet. That's kind of amazing. But
got him now.
Got him now. Put it on the board. Yes. Thanks to talking to him, and this is their defense has been really good. I did not know that about the fact their lone touchdown was a special teams touchdown.
I like how you wanted to clarify that.
He was like, no. We got 2 shutouts.
Perfect.
We got 2 shutouts. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. So we appreciate Coach Lee Fedora joining us.